Welcome to today's 3-Minute Halacha. Recently, our community suffered from the unusual phenomena of a tornado that went through our neighborhood. Following the tornado, I was asked whether or not a person who was in the path of that tornado should recite the Birkat HaGomel, the special blessing of thanksgiving. To answer that question, we need to understand what HaGomel is. The HaGomel was instituted as a modern-day equivalent of the Korban Todah, the Thanksgiving sacrifice, which was offered in the Beit HaMikdash as a token of appreciation for having survived a difficult ordeal. Based on Tehillim Kuf Zayin, we understand that there are four classic cases. One is a person who traveled through the sea, another person who traveled through the desert. The third is a person who recuperated from a serious illness, and the fourth is a person who was released from prison. The common denominator in all four of these is that a person's life was in danger, and therefore, most authorities extend these four basic categories to include any situation in which a person's life was in danger, even if there was no fear for one's life at any time. Of course, the Magen Avraham in Siman Taf Yud Chet maintains that reciting HaGomel is actually optional in nature and not an outright obligation. Based on this, it would seem reasonable that a person would be able to recite Birkat HaGomel, even though they may not be required to. However, what they need to remember is that similar to the requirement of the Korban Todah, the HaGomel blessing has to be recited during the day and while standing, with a minyan present, and typically it's said within 3 to 5 days and no later than 30 days after the event occurred. The Aruch HaShulchan, however, does note that as long as one still feels a strong sense of thanksgiving and appreciation for having survived the ordeal, you can still recite the Birkat HaGomel. Women are obligated, as are men. However, the most common custom of women reciting the Birkat HaGomel is after childbirth. And even then, the Mishnah Berurah points out that some have the custom where the husband recites it on his wife's behalf. The wife needs to be in shul at that time. Similarly, we also learn that children, because they were not obligated, they were not chayavim, which is part of the terminology of the bracha, to offer a thanksgiving offering. Children are not obligated in reciting a Birkat HaGomel. However, the Shari Tshuva does say that a child would be allowed to recite the Birkat HaGomel if they should desire to do so. Common custom today, though, is that children don't recite HaGomel, only adults.